Did you know that in Chinese, simply changing the pitch of your voice can turn the word for mother into the word for horse? No joke, that is the literal power of tones, and it's exactly why having a structured path is absolutely crucial. Welcome, focused learners, to this explainer. Today, we're mapping out the exact framework and milestones for a grade 7 student entering the Chinese language pathway. And we're going to apply this broad roadmap directly to your current focus in Chinese HSK Unit 01, Lesson 04, which is all about daily communication and work practice. We are going to cover the practical, everyday exchanges that get you talking right from day one.
So here's a quick look at our roadmap. We'll hit the essential question, explore the ACTFL 5 Cs, look at the grade 7 pathway, and finally, break down the HSK proficiency levels. Let's dive right in.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the essential question, focusing on culture, identity, and community. How does language learning connect culture, identity, and community? This essential question frames our entire explainer, and it actually ties directly into the daily communication you're practicing right now. Think about it. When you learn to say ni hao, which translates to hello, you aren't just memorizing a random vocabulary word. You're building a dynamic bridge that connects who you are to the wider global community. When you engage in these practical, everyday exchanges, you aren't just making new sounds. You're actively participating in a rich, historical, cultural exchange.
Moving right along to Section 2, the ACTFL 5 Cs, which really act as your compass for learning.
Now, what's genuinely fascinating here is how the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, or ACTFL, breaks that big philosophical question down into 5 highly actionable pillars: communication, cultures, connections, comparisons, and communities. These literally serve as your compass. Take communication, for example. In Unit 1, Lesson 4, communication means mastering the absolute basics, pinyin and tones. Remember that surprising fact about changing the word mother to horse? Well, in pinyin, ma with a high flat tone is mother, but ma with a dipping tone is horse. These pillars ensure you're building real-world accuracy rather than just mindlessly doing textbook drills. Let's zoom in on comparisons for a second to see how this anchors specifically in your current lesson. This means actively comparing cultural practices in everyday communication. So think about how you might casually greet a friend in English with a quick, "Hey." Now compare that with how respect is built directly into introductory classroom exchanges in Chinese. You might stand and specifically say, "Lao shi, nin hao," using the polite form of you to address the teacher. By comparing these daily communication habits, you actually get a much better understanding of your own personal identity and social norms. The crucial point here is summed up perfectly in this stated student outcome. Use language for real-world tasks. It's all about practical application, right? Let's look at a quick worked dialogue right out of your lesson on requesting information. Imagine a student asking, "请问洗手间在哪儿?" which means, "Excuse me, where's the restroom?" And the teacher replies, "在那儿," meaning over there. That short dialogue, utilizing accurate pinyin and correct tones, is the exact kind of real-world task the ACTFL standards are designed to promote.
All right, Section 3, the grade 7 pathway and what your actual course options look like.
There are exactly 10 different courses listed as eligible for grades 7 through 12 students in the foreign language directory for this pathway. Having 10 options means you have incredible flexibility. But what's vital to understand is that the foundational courses within these 10 options immediately tackle the daily communication elements of Unit 1. They are entirely focused on building a strong base in pinyin, key vocabulary, and basic character recognition so that you're actively speaking and listening right out of the gate in Week 1. This brilliantly illustrates your 2 main trailheads, the traditional Chinese track and the HSK track. Before we move forward, let's address a really common misconception. A lot of people think jumping into Chinese is just too chaotic or impossibly difficult for beginners because of the unique writing system. But as these 2 clear tracks show, the journey is actually meticulously structured. Both pathways are carefully designed to step you through the basics of greetings and short dialogues before slowly layering in more complex academic concepts. You're never left to just figure it out on your own. And finally, Section 4, HSK proficiency levels explained. Let's look at these measurable milestones.
HSK stands for Hanyu Shuiping Kaoshi. It's the official, national, standardized test for Chinese proficiency, and it measures your ability to communicate across life, study, and work domains. The 3.0 version of this system meticulously maps out your growing fluency across 9 distinct levels. It's really important to note how those life scenarios directly correlate to the practical, everyday communication and short dialogues you're practicing right now. Literally, everything from ordering food to finding a classroom falls under this critical domain.
Let's see how this builds, starting with the beginner levels. At HSK 1, the focus is purely on simple daily life exchanges. So, time for a brief student check. Based on what we've covered, if you are successfully exchanging basic classroom greetings, using accurate pinyin, and asking simple questions like our work dialogue earlier, where do you fall on this scale? Well, you're squarely conquering the foundations of HSK 1. By the time you reach HSK 3, you are expected to graduate to effective communication across life, study, and even basic work scenarios.
As you push into the intermediate and advanced tiers, the expectations deepen significantly, and the energy really shifts. HSK 4 demands complete and coherent communication, but notice the massive shift at HSK 5 and 6. Did you catch it? The basic life scenario drops away entirely. It's just assumed you've mastered everyday communication by then. Now you're operating strictly in workplace, academic, and general professional environments, eventually achieving rich and fluent exchanges.
Then we reach the absolute mastery levels, HSK 7, 8, and 9. Here, communication shifts entirely to highly precise, in-depth discussions. This is the tier where you're debating and analyzing complex topics with native-level fluency. But here's the secret to the whole system. You absolutely cannot debate complex academic topics at HSK 9 without first mastering the precise tones, the basic greetings, and the foundational classroom exchanges we've discussed from Unit 1, Lesson 4. The peak of the mountain is entirely supported by the base.
The journey from HSK 1 to HSK 9 represents a total transformation of your language abilities. Think of it like a seed growing into a massive, deeply rooted tree. You start simply trying to survive a basic daily interaction, asking a teacher a question, or properly using a single tone. That's the seed. By the end, you command the deep fluency required for high-level professional settings. The everyday vocabulary you're learning right now in Lesson 4 provides the essential nutrients that eventually grow into that expansive tree of fluency.
So, let's tie this whole shebang together. By combining the real-world, intercultural focus of the ACTFL 5 Cs with the highly measurable, structured steps of the HSK levels, a daunting language journey becomes a manageable, step-by-step map. But remember, this map isn't just about passing tests. It's about genuine human connection. Every milestone you achieve is a brand new ability to connect with another person, starting from your very first accurate pronunciation of ni hao.
I want to leave you with this provocative thought today. As you master these fundamental pieces of daily communication, classroom exchanges, and essential tones, how will conquering these practical skills today unlock an entirely new cultural perspective for you tomorrow? The sounds you practice now are literally the keys to a whole new world. Thanks for joining me on this Explainer Focused Learners. Keep practicing your tones, keep seeking out those short dialogues, and really enjoy the incredible journey ahead.